We agree that physical show is irreplaceable, but I think going forward, things will not be the same.
Right now, things are changing, and I mean, in the summer, many things were changing. So we were worried at most that we had to cancel the full fashion week right before October. If you do a fashion show, as I said, maximum is like 1,000. But if you do a physical one, maximum is like 1,000. If you do it digital, I mean, you can reach to millions.
Suddenly, we forced to change. We need to mix physical and digital together and create something new for the next year or future.
Hi everyone, I'm Margaretha Untoro, Chief Community Officer of Dewi Magazine. Today we will be talking about the shift and the challenges of organizing a fashion week from physical to digital or to phygital. Through the years, through the thick and thin, fashion industry has adapted and survived. We survived cultural and industrial revolution, war, crisis, and now a global pandemic. Today, Jakarta Fashion Week Fashion will have a conversation with one of the most respected fashion week organizer in Asia, which is the Japan Fashion Week organization. Last held on 12 to 17 of October 2020, Rakuten Fashion Week Tokyo was translated into a phygital format with an array of streaming options for the digital shows and also with strict guidelines and protocols for the physical shows. I will be talking to two prominent figures behind the Rakuten Fashion Week Tokyo, which is Kaoru Imajo, the director of Japan Fashion Week organization, and Shige Kaneko, fashion show producer and art director. Hi, Shige-san and Kaoru-san. How are you?
Hello.
Good, thank you. How are you?
Good. Hopefully you guys are healthy and all well. It was heartbreaking to hear that the Indonesian fashion floor designers from Indonesia, from Jakarta Fashion Week, had to cancel their show in Rakuten Fashion Week Tokyo this year due to the pandemic. But we're glad that you had your fashion week running silky smooth, and I heard it was a success. And so we're a bit curious now about the process behind the adaptation of your fashion week and the evolution of your fashion week. So how was the process? How did you guys as organizers came to the decision on how you want to adapt your event into this year's health restrictions?
Okay, so as Fashion Week, so we had to cancel our Fashion Week in March. But I knew that many designers still wanted to do shows, and there were some designers that still did their shows in March. So I knew that they wanted to come back 100% in October. But we had many arrangements that we had to do towards October. First, we started talking with the government. Mm-hmm. Both the government of Japan and government of Tokyo, and so we set many rules how to do a fashion show inside our main venue and also outside of our main venue, like restriction to the numbers and distances and wearing masks and many rules. And actually we built a national standard, national rule for doing fashion shows with the government. So under that rule, we organized 15 shows this season. So the numbers of the designers were 40, but so 25 they showed online and only 15 showed physical. And Shige-san did some shows among those.
So it's a phygital fashion week, right?
Yes.
Oh, so what worried you the most when you came to this decision to evolve and to adapt? What worries you the most about it in terms of production and everything?
First, as the Fashion Week organization, we were worried. I mean, we made our final decision to hold the fashion week in end of August. But right now things are changing, and I mean in the summer many things were changing. So we were worried at most that we had to cancel the whole fashion week right before October. I mean, we just did that in March, so we didn't want that to happen again. But successfully, we could hold our fashion week in October, and that was really great for us.
Congratulations. So you said that you still have the physical show, 15 physical show, right? How many people were in each show?
Average is like 200.
200. Okay, that's quite a lot actually.
Yeah, but if there was no quarantine, I mean no virus situation, we had maximum of like 1,000 people.
Yeah.
And this time, I think the maximum was like 300.
Okay, that's really good to hear. Still a lot of people. Yeah.
Yeah, but those shows were like not inside, I mean, in outside. Yeah.
Oh, it's outdoor shows.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. Sounds really good. So how was the reception from all layers of the stakeholders, from the brands to the designers, models, and sponsors? How did they take this new format?
Sponsors. I mean, in the summer when we were like negotiating with our sponsors how to do our fashion week in July and August, I mean, we were worried. I mean, many negative comments were there, but after like we did our fashion week, I mean, we like some of the sponsors did like collaboration with the designers, like DHL. They did a whole fashion show collaboration with the designers, and like some of our sponsors filmed a movie with some designers. So after all, I mean, it was, I think they were happy, and like our mask sponsor and the Shiseido, they did a collaboration. It was the first time for us to mash up different sponsors, and it was, I think they were really happy about that.
Okay, that's good. So going back about the production, I want to ask a bit to Shige-san. What was the main difference, like the biggest challenge and the biggest difference from production side and the art directing side this year compared to last year?
Well, a physical show is not so difficult because it's as usual. For this season, actually, I didn't do a digital fashion show at Rakuten Fashion Week platform, but I did it for Paris Fashion Week. And we need to have another film director. But normally, I do director show, so I can direct the show. But for the filming, for the digital fashion week, for the digital one, we need a film director. So we need to work with the film director. That was the big challenge for us.
I see. Okay. So you had the digital shows, which allows selected few to enjoy the show offline directly, which has 200 to 300 guests on the venue, and then digital shows ranging from there's fashion films, website, streaming, and other types of visual presentations streamed from multiple channels and platforms, right? After going through all that, how did you rank all these types of format from the easiest to hardest to organize, and why do you think that way?
Well, as I say, physical is easiest. Physical shows is easiest, but for the digital ones,
I agree with you. After having our own production, physical is still so much better than digital. Yeah. So Kaoru-san, what do you think? Which one do you think is most challenging, and why? And maybe which one do you think is the most interesting and most has more potential to explore?
I think because of this situation, everybody was excited about seeing online fashion shows, digital fashion shows in June. But after all the international fashion weeks, I mean, after Paris, London, Milan, I think and all this quarantine, I think everyone was, as we talked before, I mean, I think everyone was tired of staying home, so they wanted to go outside and feel the real thing. And so among the 25 online shows that um, we had better reputations on the physical fashion shows. So yeah, so I think as everyone, Shige-san is saying, physical is easier, but in a meaning, because people get more excited on physical fashion shows. But I think next season, I mean, and after, I mean, also a few more seasons later, we still have to stick with the digital fashion shows. So, and we have to come up of a way, maybe including some, I don't know, music artists or like contemporary artists or something like that, and maybe no archives. I mean, because if you know that you can see the fashion shows anytime you want, I think it will be, I mean, people will see them less live, and then they'll just see them like when they get home or like when they have time. So we have to come up with some way to get people have more excited when they see digital fashion shows.
To get people more engaged into it, right? Because I think
Yes.
with physical show is that you get the whole package, you get the atmosphere, and then you feel the whole nuance. But digital is just a bit two-sided. It's like you're just staring at the screen, right? Okay.
Yes.
So this is from the organizer's point of view, but let's say if you're a fashion buyer or a sponsor or just simply a fashion enthusiast. Which type of show would you still prefer, and why? I mean, physical, yes, but aside from the people who can actually attend the show, do you think they're really into the streaming or the digital part?
Yes. But as I said, I think uh, only fashion is like a little bit hard for like to like strike to the consumers. So yeah, we need some kind of additional contents.
When we talk about fashion at the beginning of the pandemic, there are several doubts on how digital adaptations can actually translate fashion and all its essence um, as much, I mean, as exciting as a conventional fashion show, like you already explained. I mean, there are certain parts missing when you translate into digital. Um, how do you overcome that? I mean, I know this is like the first time for you or maybe most organizers moving everything directly into a digital. But what kind of experiments or like what kind of innovations that you guys decided on doing this year that actually um, makes everything works really well, since the reception is really good?
Also, so we had some influencers um, come to our shows and then do their like interviews on YouTube. So those kinds, I mean SNS was pretty, we like did basic things on SNS from like 5 years ago, but it was really basic. So what we did this time was we talked with many I don't know, designers, many media, many influencers to like come to the shows and like post SNS, and something positive things were like the well, it was YouTube, I think. Instagram, I know it's very short, but I think it's like just like if you want to go deep, I think YouTube is better. So um, towards next season, I think we're going to do more on YouTube.
YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is quite interesting. Because a lot of brands opted to use other platforms, let's say like Instagram, for their show and presentation. So what's your view on this? I mean, with all that available platforms that you have, that why is YouTube your choice? And what do you think about the other platforms? Or is it like specific in Japan that people mostly use YouTube?
Maybe this is kind of specific part in Japan, but so we have been doing Instagram and YouTube from the past, and this time we adopted TikTok and Note. But within fashion, I think Instagram and YouTube is better than the other two.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, as I said, Instagram is like quite, you just see it on your iPhone, so it's really quick. And YouTube, I think you sit down and watch it on your laptop, but you watch it in home. So if you want to go deep with the consumers and like the people who are interested in Fashion Week, I think YouTube is better. Maybe this is particularly in Japan, but yeah.
How about TikTok? Is TikTok big in Japan?
TikTok, it's big in Japan, but I think more younger people use it. So our main target is in the 20s and the 30s. So I think TikTok is more to teenagers.
Okay. So do you guys have TikToks? Do you use TikToks?
No, we don't. But yeah, some of our like guests use TikToks, and yeah, I think it was not really. I mean, maybe it was just this season, but wasn't really good for us this year. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't understand TikTok either, so we're on the same boat. Yeah, I think like we're too old, a bit too old. I feel a bit too old for that, but it is the next big thing. So going back to Shige-san, what do you think? Because you do mostly physical shows, right? How do you translate that when it goes to the video like YouTube? It's as engaging and as has the same wow factor as when we saw it live, because I saw your shows last year. It was amazing set. So how is there like a different creative process when you think about doing a show for physical only and doing a physical show that you know will be mainly consumed by people online, because you only have very few guests this year?
Yeah. Well, it's quite different process to think about digital show, because it's not just recording the fashion show. For the video digital presentation, it's another different things we need to think about. I mean, in some way, the digital shows more details of the collections.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, there is no excitement or emotion. Fashion show is about fashion, or fashion show is about emotional things. Do you agree? So, yeah, I mean.
So does that mean that you work more closely with the director, the videographer, like for this show, specifically this year, compared to the previous shows?
Yeah.
There will be a lot of detailed shots, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you have like, did you learn anything new in that process that you think can elevate things further for the next fashion week?
Yeah, we actually learned a lot from video director.
So this is a good thing also, that we all learn something new, right?
Experience. Yeah.
So I'm sure next year will be more. We will see more exciting presentation from you.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on to the next question. How in terms of the brands and the designers who was participating, which is you said that there are some, a lot of them still prefer digital and some in physical. How do you manage that? I mean, were they the one who chose, oh, I want to do it digital only and I want to do this physical, or did you choose for them? And how do you compromise with them? Because I'm sure a lot of them would probably want to do physical because it's more engaging, or maybe some of them like prefer not to. How do you manage all this?
Well,
Um,
big houses or big designer would like to do physical shows, but
Mm.
in Tokyo there are many young, fresh, creative fashion designers. So the young creative fashion designers maybe choose to present their collection on digital, and the younger one has more, flexible, more creative thinking. So the digital fashion show might be better for younger one,
Mm.
I
Mm.
think.
I agree.
But still, big designer, big houses does prefer to do physical shows.
Yeah, I think it's quite the same everywhere. Everywhere else is quite more or less the same. Um, so with all this ease of not say ease, I mean there are challenges of translating things to digital platform, but with all the experience that you already had after this year and the reception, and you kind of know what people like and don't like, do you think big production and communal event like the physical fashion week as it used to be is still relevant for the years to come? I mean, I know we said we agree that physical show is irreplaceable, but I think going forward things will not be the same. Um, how do you see this? I mean, how important is to have a real physical show all the time, and how important it is to inject the digital side to everything. Even though you're a big name and you like to do things traditionally more with the physical show, but I'm sure digital is still important to touch. And what do you think about this?
Well, digital is going to be much more important than now or previous years. Uh, we suddenly we need to be forced to change, and much more digital one is more important, I think.
So,
And
Kaoru-san, what do you think?
yeah.
yes, I agree because considering sponsors, I mean, if you do a fashion show, as I said, maximum is like 1,000. But if you do a physical one, maximum is like 1,000. Maybe you can reach to VIPs and like I don't know, influencers. But if you do it digital, I mean, you can reach to millions. So thinking about numbers and efficiency, yeah, digital is important. But as we everyone agree, I think 100% digital fashion week is like boring. Man, not boring, but I mean you have to have some exciting physical shows to, yeah, for each fashion weeks, I think.
Because it's the theater side, right? You sell the
Yeah.
dream from that physical show. It's the same like maybe Kabuki or Broadway. You can't translate that to digital only, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. So if you have to just choose maybe one biggest lesson that you learned from this year's fashion week, your fashion week, what is it? Kaoru-san and Shige-san. Maybe Kaoru first.
Okay. One big thing. Um, hmm. Well, okay. I have to admit that as Fashion Week, as a platform, we are very weak digitally because I think compared to like Fashion Weeks in Milan, New York, Paris, I think we only have 1/10 of followers on our SNS, and like compared to us doing live fashion shows and some Instagrammers being at the shows and doing live streaming, we have to admit that they have more viewers, more followers. So this connects to everything. I mean, because we have, I mean, we can't run without our sponsor. So, I mean, when we report everything to our sponsor, they are curious about the numbers. So, I think what we learned that we have to build more our digital platform stronger. Yeah, that's what we learned.
Shige-san, what do you think? What's the biggest lesson that you received this year?
From this year's experience, because we are fashion show producers and fashion show directors, we need to, well, that's my challenge, that's our challenge. We need to mix physical and digital together and create something new for the next year or future. That's our, I mean, that's my big things for next year.
Okay. Actually, I have another question, which I'm a bit curious because of what you said, Kaoru-san, that you feel that all this year, the digital side from your fashion week is not too strong. But what about the brands that are involved? Do you think they feel the same, especially with the older brands? And how are they coping with this pandemic and the shift? Are they accelerating? Are they adapting? Or are they resisting? Because I know it's quite probably it's a bit difficult for people to change, especially when they've done the same things for years.
So talking with designers, I mean, before the fashion week, many of them said that they haven't got the damage yet because they still don't have their own stores. If they have their own stores, I mean, the sales are good. They still have to pay the rent. They have to pay for their employees. But most of the designers that participate our fashion week, they still don't have their stores. So
Okay.
They didn't have the damage. So they said that they were focusing on e-commerce.
I see.
And like also Yoji Yamamoto and Sakai, they built, for the first time, they built their own e-commerce in like June and July. So I think many of the designers and also the stores, like our main sponsor is the Rakuten, and their main business is e-commerce, and they said that they were doing really good from the summer. So yeah, I think that's what the designers are thinking right now. I mean, it's like the same thing as fashion shows. I mean, we have to do digital fashion shows, and also they have to sell digitally. So I think that are what they're thinking, and what we have to also think too.
So everyone is forced to accelerate as fast as they can and adapt as fast as they can, right? And yeah, it's the same here. E-commerce has been booming. Online sales has been crazy. When people stay at home, they keep clicking and shopping. So I think our time is up. Thank you so much for the conversation. It's lovely to chat with you, Kaoru-san and Shige-san. I hope you stay healthy. And hopefully I can see you guys
Yes,
soon,
yes.
maybe next year. Hopefully I can travel by then because we're still not allowed to go into Japan for now. But yeah, stay well, especially during the winter. Take your vitamins.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you so much, Shige-san and Kaoru-san. Bye. See you soon.
Thank you. Bye.
So thanks everyone for tuning in. If you want to know more about Japan Fashion Week organization, you can visit Rakuten Fashion Week Tokyo.com, the official website for Rakuten Fashion Week Tokyo. And if you want to know more about Dewi Magazine and Jakarta Fashion Week, you can visit us on our social media, website, and app as stated below. So see you soon, stay safe, and see you on our next Jakarta Fashion Week Comfort Fashion.